Well, everybody, welcome to Rackspace Live. Let's push the button and show you a placard. Woohoo! That's right. Turn down some music. Hey, I'm so glad that you're here or just starting to show up. Hey, everybody, it's Jeff DeVerter. I'm the Chief Technology Evangelist here at Rackspace. I need to push a few buttons, get us going. And I'm so glad that you come in and joining us for, well, if you're in the US, maybe your lunch hour. If you're in the UK, you should be having dinner and not doing work stuff, or somewhere else around the world. Who knows? Hey, but I would love for you to introduce yourself if you are here. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you are in the comments. Whether you're working it on LinkedIn or watch us on Twitter or YouTube, you of course can comment. We'll see your comments. And if you ask a question or say something interesting, we'll probably even bring it up and talk about that. Well, folks, this is going to be a really interesting episode today. I'm super excited about it. And because we're going to dig into career growth, especially in technology. And as part of that, what I wanted to do was share with you an article that I found. And I just pushed the wrong button. Very good. And that article is this one right here. And it talks about the Great Resignation. Clark Kent's here. Clark, I did not answer a question of yours the other day, and I promise I will. Let's see who else. We got a UK racker. Joseph is here. Glad you're here. Do you know Luke? Luke's going to be on. But let's talk about this. Sorry, I got distracted yet again. You know me. ADD kicks in all the daggum time. So after the Great Resignation, this is an article is over on Wired. Tech firms, well, they're getting desperate in what they do for help. With the Great Resignation, and everybody, regardless of what was going on in your organization, everybody was just ready for a change, right? So off they went to make a change. And tech firms, all firms, are getting super, super desperate about finding employees who can do the job. Now, as they get desperate, one of the things that they're doing, quite frankly, maybe should have been doing all the time, is how do you court, specifically, how do you grow your own tech talent inside of your organization? And this article gives some stats on different people who are leaving and strategies and how they can stick around. I thought it was an interesting one for us to use, sort of to springboard into a conversation today that is really focused on us here at Rackspace and what we are doing to help ensure that our tech talent sticks around. Now, you can imagine that hey, I got to stop for a second. Mandy from Belgium is here. I don't know if I've ever had anybody from Belgium. So, Mandy, you're the first one here, and I'm so happy you are. And Sergey is here. Sergey, good to talk to you again. This is like twice in 2 weeks. I love it, although we're not really talking, but you're watching. I'm glad you are. So what we're here to talk about today is all about how Rackspace specifically is courting, is growing, is investing in our own tech talent. And to do that, I have brought along a couple of three. Look, I'm sort of in the way. Great rackers. Now, first of all, in just a second, I'm going to bring up Travis Runty. Travis has been on the program before, so is somewhat a familiar face. Skylar, hi, we're glad you're here. But also from the UK, Luke Meyrick is here, and as well as somebody I've known for probably over a decade or two. Maybe not 2 decades, but a long time. Kevin Parker, great racker, and excited for you to get to meet him. So, with that, I wanted to start the conversation with Travis Runty. So, let's go ahead and bring Travis up. Guys, I want to encourage you if you have questions for Travis, you have questions for anyone else, want to comment on what your company is doing. That's what the comments are for. Just use them. I don't know what platform you are, but I'm guessing they're down below this video. Hey, Travis Runty, glad that you are here.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Folks, if you want to follow some crazy work that happens on trucks, on vehicles, on drones, seek out Travis on Facebook. It's fascinating. You just can't let any good vehicle sit around and be stock. So it's always got to be
That's true.
changed.
That's true. I'm a maker at heart. Absolutely.
What you absolutely are, and a shop to make it happen. But I think that's a really super interesting segue because as we think about what we're here to talk about today, and even in your role, what is your role? Tell the good friends at home while I have a sip what your role is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, name's Travis Runty. I'm the vice president of our global cloud operations. I've been at Rackspace now for over 14 years. I actually joined Rackspace answering the phones, wanting to be a Linux engineer,
Yep.
and talking about technical career track, that's the path that I took. Ultimately transitioned to leadership along the way, but yeah, it's been a wild ride and glad to be here.
That's right. And so we're here specifically, you've said the phrase technical career track, because one thing that Rackspace realized several years ago, I don't remember when, maybe I will remember when,
It's about
probably,
2008, probably.
well, no, we started it maybe more like 10, because it was back when we bought SharePoint 911 is when it was getting launched. And it was about that timeline.
So way back.
Um, so Rackspace history, guys. But the guy that started it, that spearheaded it, that was his passion, was Rackspace's first CTO, John N. Gates, or, all emails were first initial last name. So we called him Jen Gates. That's why we call Travis Runty Trunty. He will never get rid of that. And I came in after that. So I'm just Jeff DeVerter. Boring. And but John was on the program last Thursday, and he was an 18-year racker before he left. Amazing. But the TCT, or technical career track, was really his brainchild. But Travis, what is the technical career track at Rackspace?
Yeah, so a long time ago, we came to the conclusion that as you grow your career from as a technical racker,
Yeah,
there was a decision point to where you had to go into people leadership or management to continue that growth. What we found is not all great, amazing technologists make great people leaders, nor do
that's
they
right.
all enjoy it. And so
Like,
what we
usually those go hand in hand at the same time. It's like,
yeah,
what
absolutely.
have I done?
I
I
made a
used to like
terrible
my job.
mistake. Yeah, absolutely. And so we saw that firsthand far too many times.
Yeah,
And so the technical career track was developed, right? And so what the technical career track is an ability for our most senior technical rackers to continue growing their career. These are director level, VP level roles,
yeah,
where they can become thought leaders and influence the business in a broader way. TCT is really comprised of about a little less than 50 rackers globally. It is a global program. It's represented by all of our regions. And the rackers actually stay within their business unit, right? So they stay on their team so they can remain tied into the business, tied in with the customer, tied in with their peer group. But there's this glue or this fabric that we call TCT that allows us to kind of leverage the hive mind of these amazing technologists
right.
absent of business units or silos. And so it's a really, really powerful program. We've tweaked it, up and down over the past,
Mhm.
and when leveraged appropriately, like we're doing now, it's quite effective.
Yeah, and it was really exciting, from its inception all the way through, just because, these really smart technical rackers would either try to go into management and generally, maybe not be really happy about their life, or realize they didn't want to do that in the first place. And for them to, I mean, they literally would hit a pay ceiling. When you think about, where a technical person sits inside of the organization. But now through the TCT, it created that senior direct or senior manager, director, VP sort of equivalent in pay scale, and access to information and leadership stuff, and the ability to participate in the overall technical direction of the organization. Gave them access into all of those things, sort of those senior technical leaders, and allowed them to continue to develop. Gave them license also in the early years, Travis. Sometimes we would airlift them out of their team and say, "This is a really smart person. We got this little science project going on over here. Can we have them for 6 months?" And
Yeah.
oftentimes off they came. I launched two different businesses inside of Rackspace through the help of TCT.
Yeah, I think the product creation process is a great reference where that's worked effectively. We've also seen in the past some of our 0 day critical vulnerabilities that really disrupted our business.
Yeah.
Build a SWAT team made up of TCT team members to really address it quickly, and it's been again very effective.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Travis, we could talk all day, but we've got some TCT members here. Um, but before we bring them in, you mentioned you went into the TCT.
No,
Okay,
I
okay.
wanted to go into the TCT program as a
Didn't
technologist.
make it in.
I couldn't make the cut, and so instead of joining the TCT program through the technical path, now
I
I'm the
don't want to say
executive.
you failed into management, but
No, 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 but now I'm the executive sponsor of the program. So I found my way to be part of the program one way or the other.
excellent. Hey, I want to say hi to our friends from Ghana as well as India. India, you guys, and Ghana, you guys are up late. But thanks for watching. We're glad you're here. Who else is here? We got a couple of TCT members. Let's bring them onto the stage. We have Kevin Parker, and we also have Luke as well, Luke Meyrick, who are part of, not only part of the TCT, but they are part of the board that steers the TCT as well. So let's start with a good UK racker. So Luke, welcome to the program. And so tell me about how long were you a racker, and then how long have you been in as part of the TCT?
Yeah, hi Jeff, good to be here. I have been a racker since 2012, so I've been around quite a while.
Yeah.
I was accepted into the TCT program, it'll be 3 years in October, I believe. But the TCT program was actually one of the things that attracted me to Rackspace in the outset. Is like, here's a company that sort of have a path for technologists that I can follow, being a technologist at heart.
What was your first job at Rackspace? What did you do?
I was a lead engineer. I've actually spent most of my tenure at Rackspace in the customer success business, looking after some of our large and complex customers as a lead engineer.
Got it. And so now your role as part of the TCT has sort of really morphed a little bit. You as a lead engineer, folks, you're sort of that top of the technical food chain for either an account team or a set of other engineers. But you grew to really look after some pretty important financial services customers for us in the UK. But now you're looking over actually a region. Tell me about this new role that you're in.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I moved over to the professional services side of the business and have been submerged in a tier one bank for the last 3 years, helping with their cloud transformation program. As a result of that, and growing the professional services capability in EMEA, becoming more of a professional services focused organization, we noticed that there are a number of improvements that can be made that sort of lead to us operating in a more sort of intentional fashion and leading to our professional services products and services. Yeah. And as a result of that, that mindset and ability and need to focus in that area, I am now transitioning into a regional technology lead role to help us learn from what we do in our professional services engagements and help us to continually improve.
I love that role. You guys, we at Rackspace, 7,000 employees. So again, look at hey, Ashley, glad you're here from South Carolina. But we, 7,000 employees. There are 50 TCT members, so it is a small percentage of the employee base. I mean, and it's a rough one to get into. I mean, they didn't even take Travis. And I'm just going to say that like 5 more times today. And but as we break up the world, there's kind of North America. Well, it's a big region. It's kind of a small region, just a couple of time zones. But then when you look at EMEA, and then we have our APJ, so the Far East. But that EMEA region is pretty doggone big. So we have these regional leads now that like what Luke is doing to help make sure that all that information gets shared across the entire region, which is pretty huge. Hey, let's move down to Kevin Parker, as we call him, KP. Kevin, did we build the building around you? What year did you come to Rackspace?
Yeah, I started, I have to qualify this. I started in December of 2002. So I was here in 2002, but it was at the very end. So about 19 years ago.
That's incredible.
We've actually built three different buildings around me since I've been here. So yeah.
So did you start at Broadway and then go to DP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. Broadway Bank building down in South San Antonio, down in the downtown area. It was great. We were the scrappy group of kids not wearing suits, surrounded by bankers and all kinds of people. We got a lot of sideways glances, but eventually made pretty good friends with some of them.
That's good because a lot of things I could say. But what's interesting is as your career grew, you didn't tell me, what was your first job at Rackspace? What did you do?
I started as a Windows engineer. So I was helping our customers directly supporting Windows servers. I was on the second shift, what I call the kind of the pilot proving ground. And then I kind of worked my way up into a lead engineer role where I was looking after some of our most complex accounts. on the Windows side before joining our sales organization, actually. And I've been involved in pre-sales efforts ever since, moving through sales engineering, kind of across our technology portfolio, and now landing in the cloud as a cloud solution architect.
All right. So how long have you been a member of the TCT?
I joined TCT, I think it was around 2012.
Okay. And probably
So I
around
was,
that first or second wave.
yeah, it was pretty early on. There was different days back then. It was right around the time we were incubating some of those projects you were talking about launching. I got involved really as a pioneering member of the sales org. The TCT organization didn't even know that we had technical rackers in our sales organization, and I think a lot of people in the technical community don't really realize that there's definitely an army of technical folks out there that are directly dealing with sales guys all day long.
That's right. And not necessarily writing contracts, folks. You know, when you move to the cloud, it's a highly complex thing. And so scoping that out, understanding what the right solutions look like, architecting those solutions, it's happening by people like Kevin. So
Absolutely.
so Kevin, she started here in 2002. And at one point, are you starting to think, I'd like to advance a little bit more, but it looks like I'm going to have to manage people. I mean, did those things start to enter your mind?
I think I was fortunate that I didn't have to wrestle with that. My career sort of progressed along the natural pathway until I got kind of to the top of my game, and I was what would be, I guess, the equivalent of a level 5 engineer on the sales team. And then they sort of they came kind of knocking, and I remember I had some of my mentors that had left the company, and I remember looking around and realizing that I was the veteran there, and I had no one to mentor me anymore, and I was now in this de facto position of being sort of the old man on the team. Fortunately, I was approached by my boss at the time, and had a good working relationship with John Engates, and they had made the recommendation that I join the TCT, and I think John Engates himself was the one that made the comment. I never even thought that we had technical people in sales, but you're right. So we had to do kind of an oral defense of my candidacy, and we've since introduced a lot more structure around the process of getting in. But that's how it happened.
That's pretty incredible. Tell me about your experience inside of it. How has that either broadened your career? Obviously, it's helped from it helps from a pay. Let's just call it what it is. You're in those higher bands, so the pay helps. But how's it helped? Your outlook on Rackspace, your view of other rackers, and just helping them progress.
I think once you wrestle with sort of the mantle of leadership, you start to sort of fundamentally develop as a professional. And one of the things that I've kind of internalized over the years is the importance of how my outlook and how I conduct myself, and how that kind of affects other rackers as being kind of an important thing. So I've tried to feed into that and try to focus on being aware of that, but also helping those around me to develop themselves and kind of act as somewhat of a role model. Originally, when I joined the team, the TCT, I was astonished by the level of technical talent I was now immersed in. I had people that were, project technical leads for the OpenStack project, and I was now peers with these folks. So it was humbling in that regard, but it was also kind of a fish out of water scenario too, because these are people who had no concept of the world of sales and sales engineering, solution architecture. It was all just very much coding and hands-on technical stuff. So it was really, really, I think, just amazing to be able to draw from the technical talent. I've learned quite a bit from the peers.
Excellent. Now, as in everything evolves over time. Nothing is, if it stays the same, it dies, is what I tend to say. So, Travis, as you're now, the executive sponsor looking over the TCT, what are some of the newer goals or ways that you're helping to shape how this program evolves into the future?
Yeah, so where we're steering TCT to be, and it's already doing this, but we want more of it, right? Is we want it to be viewed as the authoritative technical voice for Rackspace. As our product team, for example, it wants to do discovery on a new technology. We want them to engage the TCT population to say, "Hey, we're considering this neat thing. What do you know about it, right? What's your opinion on it? What's a position we should take forward?" And so having that collective, authoritative, technical voice is priority number one. Additionally, we want to make sure that our emerging technical talent has that horizon, right? We want to make sure that as
Something
KP
to aspire to.
Yeah, exactly. That's somewhere where I want to be. I want to do that someday.
I want to be
right?
like KP or Luke one of these days.
Right. That's right. And as KP mentioned, ensuring that our current TCT populations exhibiting those behaviors of good role models, good leaders, it gives our emerging technologists something to model after, right? And so those are really the key priorities: is establishing technical opinions, ensuring our emerging and our most senior rackers have clear growth path. And if we do those right, then magical things tend to happen.
Speaking of magical things, let's see how they have happened. So, Luke, let's go over to you for a second. You came to Rackspace in 2012. TCT is one of those things that was attractive to you in coming to Rackspace. How has it been being part of the TCT? How's it helped your career? Has it helped your outlook? These sorts of things.
Yeah, I think it helps to give you a voice in the organization, right? So it gives you a platform of recognition. It gives you global reach. I've got access, as KP mentioned, to a group of, I think we all experience the same, or at least I certainly did, of joining this group of almost imposter syndrome, right? We've got a lot of strong people surrounding you, but once you've settled in, it's a very powerful thing, right? So you and I, Jeff, are involved in some of the CTO working groups, which have global reach. Which I was able to get access to through the TCT, and also more structure around some of the internal initiatives that I work on that helps people with their career growth and things like that. I just have that buying power as a principal engineer that's an expectation, that's something that you will lead, and being like a director level technologist within the company. You have that authority to be able to get these projects moved.
Yeah, it's incredible. As Lucas is referring to, my role as organizationally, I sit inside of the office of the CTO, and we're working and been tasked to pull this working group together, which Luke and Sergey's on here as well, are a part of. But it's a global reach of folks who are literally setting that vision for Rackspace. Not for the product list for what's coming out in the next, on the truck for the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, but what does the future of Rackspace look like? And these are the types of folks who are on that working group who literally are setting the future of Rackspace. We've got great leadership inside of Rackspace. We've got some amazing CEOs and executive leadership team and so forth. But it's this level of caliber as we've grown them inside of Rackspace into the TCT that they continue to get to do their day job. They continue to get to influence their peers and have an impact on customers, but they're also having a significant impact on the future of Rackspace. So KP, back over to you for a second. What are some of the projects or things that you're being a part of the TCT has given you access to that maybe you wouldn't have had before?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my activities of late have been involved in some of the governance aspects of the TCT. So I was elected to the board of directors. I believe it was a couple of years ago, and working through some of the changes there, redefining the mission of the TCT, organizing the sort of the guest speakers that we'll have on our kind of monthly sessions where we bring all the TCT together and kind of get a sounding board together. In my kind of day job, I guess, as an Azure architect, so I'm primarily working on a lot of kind of cross-functional efforts to unify aspects of our portfolio that are kind of not, I guess, organically managed by a single product manager. So one of the things that when Azure launched its virtual desktop offering, I was part of a team that we sort of assembled to gather a lot of the talent together from our cloud office side of the house, or Office 365, as well as our Azure infrastructure, and build a capability where that product actually requires talent for both. So I've been heavily involved in that, and as well as some of the the annual partner audits and things that we do where Microsoft comes in and evaluates our entire Azure program.
Such an enjoyable experience as it is.
Oh, nothing like an audit. Yeah.
Love a good audit. Who doesn't love a good audit? So guys, hopefully what you're hearing is when you are heading down the road into this level of an organization, you still have a day job, you still have a thing to do, but you get access to not just the to more exposure into having a larger impact inside of the organization. Does that sometimes mean a little extra work? Of course it does. But it gives you, there's a huge satisfaction. I know me personally and these gentlemen as well. Travis, we joked earlier, he's a maker. These guys are all, in a sense, makers. We are trying to make the best organization possible. And that's one of the things I think that really frustrates technical individuals is when you don't have the ability to have that voice to have an impact. Now, TCT is for those elite technical folks. There's 50 of them in an organization of 7,000. But it's not the only way Rackspace grows talent. Travis, you also look after what we call the TOP, or the Technical Onboarding Program. Why don't you give us a couple of quick seconds on that?
Yeah. So the top program is kind of the opposite end of that funnel, right? You've got your most expert level, and then you have these emerging technologists. And what top does is, like any large company, we have a fantastic workforce that we need to evolve. And so what top does is it takes our existing rackers and it puts them through a 90-day program, full-time job, 90-day program to emerge as either a cloud DevOps expert, big data, or a cloud native developer. It's a really amazing program. We partnered with AWS and Google to co-deliver a lot of the curriculum. And some of these rackers, when they graduate after that 9-day period, it's a life-changing event. It's a whole new career for them. It's an amazing thing to be part of.
So I guess our encouragement here, folks, is if you are a technologist and you're looking for that next role, wherever that might be, encourage you to look for a company like a Rackspace. Maybe even look at Rackspace. There's lots of great jobs there. In fact, if you were to go to rackspace.com/jobs, you might even find that there's one that fits the bill for you. And you could be a future TCT person working with Kevin and Luke and Travis. But look for a company that has a path for their technical folks, not just a nice paycheck. Nice paychecks are great, but job satisfaction and growth are huge. And Rackspace really is doubling down in that space. And I'm not here to tell you we've gotten it right every year for every time we've done it, but let me tell you, there is a lot of great momentum at Rackspace right now doing this sort of work. Look for an organization that is helping to grow and mature the young employees, as well as giving you direction. And if you're watching as a leader in another organization, come model us. We'd be happy to tell you how we did it. We'll get Travis on the phone with you. I'll get on the phone with you if you want to learn more about the Rackspace program. We'd love to share anything we have. We open source all this stuff to you. Not a lot of people knocking on our door at this point, or a place looking for how do you build a program. But if you're interested, we're happy to tell you. You can find us, of course, on LinkedIn is maybe one of the easiest ways to find us. You obviously follow Rackspace already. Even just comment to them and say, hey, I want to get in touch with these guys. We'll make it happen. You can reach me directly, solve@rackspace.com, and I'll direct it. So Kevin, parting words as I make one last round around through the guests on Rackspace and the TCT program that you want to share.
I don't know. Be excellent to each other. I would encourage anyone that's considering a path like this to seriously consider working at Rackspace. It's been a life changer for me. I mean, I'm kind of a lifer, right? I'm going on 19 years, I guess. But not only that, in any endeavor you have, give it your all and really, be the voice in the room that people listen to.
That's great. Hey, Luke, over to you for closing comments.
I think it's probably important to mention that we're an organization that's gone through quite a significant change. And over the last 3 years, and some of that has made it into the public space, right? There's been positives and there's been negatives. But what I can say is that as an organization, we have renewed our investment in both the top program, in the TCT program, and both of those have been core to being making this change
Yeah.
a success. It's ongoing, but we're helping to make it a success.
And what's really exciting, and Travis, I'll go to you in a second, is that support for these programs literally comes from the CEO on down, and he's briefed on these programs usually by Travis, and so it's not something that's hidden or tucked away, but it is as full visibility and support, and the success of the program gets reported up. So Travis, last things you might want to say about the programs or Rackspace.
Yeah, I think that the spirit of all of our technical programs is leveraging the community and paying it forward. As technologists, we know it's the best community to be a part of, right? So many people invest in each of us as we were beginning our careers, and the spirit of these programs is to build that next generation. And so, being part of that, paying it forward, it fills my bucket, and I think it fills a lot of our team's bucket as well.
That's awesome. Great way to end it up. Meyrick, I believe the answer to that is yes. So feel free to reach out or apply for a role and figure out what's going on as far as supporting H-1B. Everyone, this has been one of my favorite Rackspace Lives. A great build on to the career fair that we did last week. Guys, still tons and tons of jobs over at rackspace.com/jobs. We're all having a great time over here. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Not every day is roses, but that's the way it is at every organization. But at Rackspace, you have the opportunity to share your voice, to rise to the top, especially as a technical racker, and to have an impact on the direction of this entire organization. And the good folks there now down the below part of the screen are a testament to that. So I hope you have an amazing day. Travis, Luke, KP, so glad that you were here today. And folks, we're back tomorrow with a Solve Live, 8:30 Central Time in the morning, and it's all about next generation collaboration. And I hope very much that you guys will be in attendance. So thanks so much. Looking forward to seeing you again. And last thing I'll say, rackspace.com.jobs.